Petrina, where were you born and raised?
Well, that's a loaded question. I was made in San Francisco by my mom and my two dads. And one of my dads was a Marine Iwo Jima solo ship behind enemy lines. Paul. Sarah's my mom, and Tim's my other dad. Both my dads, I believe, are upstairs with my mom and my sister Sarah, my grandmother Petra, my grandfather Charles, my uncle CJ, my aunt Susan, my aunt Nancy, and my family from the street. Now, Paul didn't want Tim to know about my birth, so I was born in Daly City, Mary's No Help Hospital. So it wasn't in the birth announcement in San Francisco Times. But Paul, unfortunately, died of dysentery and San Quentin when I was 3. So my mom moved me to Madison, Wisconsin to live with her parents for a couple of years. And then Grandpa Charles, unfortunately, was on the way out with lung cancer. And after he passed away, we moved back to Washington.
What, when you say we, did you have any siblings or just you and your mom?
No, I'm an only child.
Gotcha.
Paul and Sarah tried several times to conceive, but it was tubal pregnancies and miscarriages until Tim, and then we got me. So,
and just so I'm clear, you said 2 dads.
Biological and legal.
Okay, biological and legal.
Tim fathered me.
Okay.
Tim Anthony Foley fathered me, biologically speaking. And Paul Anthony Younger is my legal dad. He was a Marine, Iwo Jima.
Gotcha. That's who you're talking about.
And I believe he was injured during the war and maybe couldn't conceive with my mother. So we have Tim Anthony Foley, not Paul Anthony Younger, as my biological father.
Yeah.
My mom had to actually pray real hard to get me, which I appreciate. She told me every day, I love you, I'm proud of you, and I'm glad you're my daughter. But I grew up 5 to 18 in foster care. Wisconsin and Washington State, Vancouver, Washington, Olympia, Lacey, Bainbridge Island, but never Seattle or a group home. I was in foster homes. I was raped and beaten in foster care. I was attempted ass rape at 5 in Madison, Wisconsin by a boy who was molested by older boys. Never so happy to see a bitch in uniform in my life. Mom called it in, and we got a female officer. It was 1978, Madison, Wisconsin. Go ahead and check the front page of the newspaper that year, because when we registered me for kindergarten, Mom and I, Sarah Younger and Petrina Younger, we were on the front page. Now, I had already experienced that attempted ass raping, so I wasn't too excited to be around other kids. But I was excited about the jungle gyms and the toys. It was quoted in the paper. And I'll just stop there. You'll find information about my mom, Sarah Elizabeth Johnson, in Madison, Wisconsin, where she went to school and college and changed committal law in that state. The next question, please.
I was going to ask, you said you went in at 5 to 18.
Off and on, yes.
What? Do you know why? You at 5.
My mom was a single parent, and CPS forces single parents to be 24/7, 365 days a year caregivers with no break. And she was accused of being schizophrenic by her parents, who tried to commit her in college. A lot of schizophrenics hear voices, and they self-medicate with alcohol. So they said it was alcoholism was the reason, but that's honestly bullshit.
You said accused, so you don't believe your mom was schizophrenic, or you do? Or you don't know?
Well, what does it matter if she wasn't beating me, drugging me, or selling me for sex? If she was mentally ill. Honestly. What does it matter? And what does addiction matter if a parent is still a good parent and loves their kid? Now, a single parent can only do what they can do as a single parent. And my mom did a fabulous job. Best mom ever, my mom. Alcoholic, schizophrenic, never drove a day in her life. She would bring working girls home from the AA meetings in Fremont in the 80s to have a safe place to stay. And she repeated this in high school on Bainbridge Island with a homeless boy. We also had businesses growing up in Olympia. It was a child's consignment shop. And in middle school and high school, it was a cloth grocery bag stand at Pike Place. But Mom, of course, was ahead of her times, because it was mid and late 80s when we had a cloth grocery bag stand at Pike Place, and we really didn't make any money. But what about the money, of course? How she managed to do it on welfare, VA benefits, I got, because she decided to divorce her husband after 9.5 years. So it was me who got the VA benefits, not her. But it is what it is. So I'm still a little upset with her for that one, because another 6 months, she got lifetime benefits, but she didn't. So.
Out of curiosity, is your mom still living? No.
No. No, we lost each other after her second reoccurrence of breast cancer. We only got 25 years together before we lost each other. So, but Dad wanted her back anyways.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, I would have lost her eventually. I just didn't believe it was going to happen until it did. I missed her last Christmas, and I refused her deathbed wishes, which was go to the ocean, have a beer, and I can't remember what third one was. Oh, she wanted to go to the hospital. But I lost her enough growing up. I wanted to stay home. I could have at least got her the beer, though, right? But
I suppose you still can.
yeah, and we do. We do. It's just, why'd I have to be so cruel and controlling? I mean, I know, because I loved her and I wanted to keep her and didn't want to lose her, but
yeah,
hindsight 2020.
That's right. I'm sorry, that's tough.
My mom was homeless before me. She was never raped, only beaten. And Gary Ridgway let her live.
Sorry, you mentioned Gary Ridgway. Tell me more about that.
The serial killer of prostitutes. She told me she tricked and met him, so I figured it out eventually. My mom was my best friend growing up. And she still is, really.
So when you aged out of foster care at 18...
I didn't age out of foster care, sir. I was drinking with a girlfriend of mine, Tirza Palmer, on Bainbridge Island, when I was refused a ride home to my foster home by the eldest biological son of the foster mom. Scott Tolbert was the eldest son. It was his apartment with his roommate that we're at, and he decided to molest me after I passed out. When I became functional enough to deal with the situation, I borrowed his roommate's car. The keys were right by the door. Luckily, I was still kind of drunk, so I got to drive the stick shift, Firebird or Thunderbird, whatever the fuck it was, a couple blocks before I hit a light pole and a light came down. But because I tried to exit the scene and go back to my foster home, they kicked me out of foster care and wanted to send me to Job Corps. Had I not produced names of other girls this asshole did similar things to, I don't know what the prosecutor would have done. But I was unrightfully kicked out of foster care.
Gotcha.
And still enrolled in high school on Bainbridge Island. So I paid room and board to Tirza Palmer's parents and had somewhere to live while I was still enrolled in high school. Now, Mr. Jones, the vice principal, pulled me in senior year to inform me I only had enough credits to be a junior. Well, sir, I was unaware I was responsible for my education in the first place. As a foster kid and student here, I think it was your own damn fucking responsibility. The whole fucking high school. Now, I am not a fan of Brain Dead Island at all. My dad served Iwo Jima. Y'all know why. Now, David Gooderson, my English teacher, the author of Snowfall on the Cedars, love him. Mr. Miller, go to hell. My history teacher. Mr. Jones, fuck you. Fuck the whole Bainbridge Island High School. Chris Kattan, I did not enjoy that joke. Foster is that your home or last name, and from the whole high school. And that's the point in time I gave up on my education when the whole school laughed. Anyways. And just because I didn't graduate with the class, don't mean I didn't go to school with you bitches. Now you're going to have to pay me to attend a reunion. Okay, next question, please.
Well, through your 20s, what were you doing?
I was employed and still functional for employment, even though we all know I was PTSD. I worked at the soapbox in the U District.
So you left Bainbridge, came over.
Oh, hell yeah.
Got out of there.
Oh, hell yeah. I came back to the city. I went to middle school in Wallingford, Hamilton Middle School, or Hamiltraz, as we called it.
And you worked at the soapbox? What is that?
Well, now we only have one location of the soapbox. When I started in the 90s, we had 3, West Seattle, U District, and Pike Place. Now, my former boss, Dory Lee from U District, is the owner of the soapbox at Pike Place, our only location.
Gotcha.
European Soaps is the parent company a couple runs. They import and distribute bath and body products from around the world to the U.S. and Canada.
Great. So you're working there, living in the U District?
No, I lived on East Lake.
Gotcha.
1816 East Lake Avenue East, apartment 204. It was a studio with a clawfoot bathtub and no shower and no direct sunlight. But when Mom and I went to check it out, she said, get it, you can afford it on welfare. So I did. Starting rent, 1993, was $325. When I went out, 99, it was $450. But Paulina is started by real estate in the neighborhood. Now, there were 2 bars when I turned 21 on East Lake, a frat bar and a biker bar. And since I grew up with bikers, and A means in Fremont, doctors and fishermen too, I felt safer at the biker bar because I didn't feel like getting roofied and being a video at the frat bar. But, you know, y'all, I did grow up poor, and I am judgmental against people with money and an easy life who never went to bed hungry and had two-person homes or homes that they were given everything and didn't appreciate it. So, I am judgmental as fuck. Thank you very much. Who is it?
Join the club.
Yeah.
We all are. Well, I got. Did you have any kids in this time?
No. I unfortunately decided to terminate my pregnancies when I had them. I didn't want one kill, let alone 5. But that was a situation in my 20s. My Mormon aunt, Patricia Conrad, tried to bribe me for the 3rd one with BYU in Hawaii. But, bitch, if I'm having a baby, it's mine and I ain't giving it away. I just knew I couldn't handle being a single parent. Plus, I don't think I ever wanted children of my own. When I was about 13 in Seattle, I made out with a friend's brother, and he asked the guy in the room to leave. When I figured out it was because of sex, I went home, told my mom I wanted to have sex. She said, sure, if you want babies. I said, babies, no babies. I don't need a screaming orgasm to deal with when I'm trying to smoke my cigarette and have my cup of coffee in the morning. It usually takes me about 3 cups of coffee and at least 2 cigarettes to be in the headspace to deal with the world. And that was in the 90s when I was functional enough for employment. And now I've got 10 years homeless. So, you know, my PTSD and disabilities just didn't get any better on the street.
Tell me about 10 years ago, that transition from housed to unhoused.
It was scary, honestly, at first. One of my ex-assholes, Alex Richard Whitman, 42171, was abusive and has a felony DV record in Oregon and family and law enforcement. His sister was molested by his father. Family did not believe him. When Alex's father was on his deathbed, he confessed to his son about molesting the stepdaughter. I, of course, informed her like her husband knew I would because he told me, and the family didn't believe her. Now, it's best in any situation when someone tells you something about being a victim to just believe them and not ask questions.
That's right.
But there's always circumstances where the victim may be mistaken, particularly on the assailant. Don't smoke all the weed, raccoon. I'm going to need some too. Raccoon! Okay, whatever. Anyways, now, unfortunately, I had the experience of being accused of a crime here in Ballard first year, which I did not commit. And there was a racial divide between me, the victim, and her friend. Thank the gods there was a 3rd witness, a Caucasian blonde female, who did this when Officer Smithers and his partner found me across the street from St. Luke's where the assault occurred on this supposedly elderly Hispanic female. And I was in the study room. It was a Wednesday, I remember. My street sister Tanya just bought me a pair of boots. And Smithers and his partner come over, and as soon as Smithers said assault, I was like, check it, boom. I kept on repeating, I'm innocent of this crime and I want an apology for being accused of a crime I didn't commit. Plus, you guys are making me late for dinner in Fremont, which I don't appreciate. Good. I didn't do nothing. Now,
sorry to interrupt. Is this part of the transition between housed and unhoused, or that was?
Yes,
Okay.
it is my transition in
Gotcha.
Ballard as a homeless resident, and my experience first year here in Ballard.
I see.
Now I came up from Auburn because we were told on the street to go to Tacoma or Seattle where they had more services and resources for us.
Right.
Now, as a single female on the street, you bet your bottom dollar I was scared shitless coming up here by myself. I slept at the ferry terminal and the police station around the corner from Rest Stop downtown in a window well. The ferry terminal kicked me out, not the police department. But you a single bitch on the street in Seattle, where are you going to feel safe sleeping at night by yourself? So it was a police office, window well, around the corner from a rest stop, across the street, 7-Eleven downtown. Now, Raccoon, it's not helping me. He's talking to someone over there. I'm trying to talk to the camera. And he's got, he can't hear me. Got earphones in. Don't smoke all my weed. Anyways. Yeah, so where were we in the story? Now, the victim of the assault on St. Luke's property, the Hispanic female and her friend, could not and refused to believe that I was possibly innocent of the crime, which I know victims often misidentify their attackers, but I don't appreciate the slander or defamation of character that goes on online for this crime that I did not commit. For the record, it was Trina, the blonde bitch, not Petrina, the redhead. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Except for thanks for the death threats and people telling me to kill myself here in Ballard. Since then, would you like to get sued, cunt? Because that's what you did to me. By slandering and defamation of character repeatedly and constantly online. Why is it every homeless bitch looks the same? Are you racist or just a hater? You're lucky your stepson and I both know the truth. And about time you did too. Now tell me, do you think your stepson appreciates hide and snitch on Trina? Do you appreciate hide and snitch on Trina? You like your family members locked up and dying and said quit when you're 3? Because I don't, bitch. And that's my word for my speech impediment. I'm Asperger's and special needs. Next question, please, Chris.
You brought that up, and I'm curious when you got kind of diagnosed or when you were aware of your Asperger's.
Awareness came at Tent City 4 when there was a campmate who had Asperger's. We went to, God damn it, Raccoon, don't smoke a motherfucking weed. This Asperger's guy and I went to smoke a bowl of weed, and he started telling me all about his Asperger's and then the campmate's autism. And before I could stop myself, I said, Asperger's, do you think I have that? He said, yes, most definitely. So then I had to deal with that. I gotta go deal with this right now because this asshole smoking my weed, rocking out to a radio, and I'm gonna need some of that. I'll be right back, you guys. Just give me 1 second. Okay, don't stop rolling. Raccoon! Raccoon! Okay.
It's still melting in there.
Okay, well, I need to smoke some too before it's all gone, asshole. You couldn't hear me saying don't smoke at all.
No, I wasn't smoking at all. I barely touched it.
Okay, well, I'm trying to do this and watch you do that, and I just wanted to make you couldn't hear me.
No, it's your hit here.
Okay, I got a lighter.
You got one?
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, watch that end though. It's hot.
Okay,
I was
thanks.
putting it in the bowl. I didn't even touch the bowl yet.
Oh, really?
It's still collecting in there.
Okay, well, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Let me take a hit because this is rough.
Definitely, for sure.
I wish there was some mastication in here, but there's not.
No, I'm used to passing it to you, so. We're smoking buddies. So.
God dang this
You
pipe.
gotta hit it. You gotta hit it from the broken end, and then
Okay.
through the part where it's hanging out. The metal's hanging out.
I'm not the best sucker, you guys.
I know you don't need to be on that though. It'll go. No. The end. The end.
Which
the
end?
The end where the metal's hanging out. Yeah.
Suck this end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Put the flame there too,
Thanks, we're good.
and puff it like a cigar until you see smoke.
Okay. Smoke signals, huh?
Yep. That's how you scrape it without scraping it.
So I suck on this end.
The
Do I pull
jagged
this
end,
out?
The jagged end.
I pull this out.
No. You leave that in there. You hit from the other end. And
I
you put
can't
the
do this right now. Let's finish this before, because I could not smoke pot for the life of me yesterday.
Just like this from the broken end.
Okay, I don't want to cut myself though.
No, you're not gonna cut yourself. It's not like that.
Here, can you utilize some of this shit to make a better smoking? I don't want to cut myself.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, I got scissors too. I forgot.
You do? Oh yeah. That'd be a big help.
All right, I'm gonna smoke
We'll have it
again.
ready for you.
Hi, cigarette.
That was our intermission.
Okay, cool.
Petrina,
Sig Hansen, I call him cigarette. That's where I get all my Norwegian pride.
Oh, Siggy?
Yeah, I call him cigarette.
Yeah.
Don't tell him I said that, you guys.
Hell, we won't.
Petrina,
These are Trident cigars from Fremont, by the way.
you've been on the streets for 10 years.
Off and on,
Off and
yes.
on? Is it-
It's called chronically homeless when you're homeless more than once. But I wasn't housed correctly the first time with DESC at Ranter House. We had some issues and I fired them, relinquished my apartment. And then I was at Tiny Homes Inner Bay last year, and they exited me when I was locked up against my will, which I heard was against the law. But Chris, there was a guy named Chris that was the head of Tiny Homes Inner Bay. And at one point, I started hallucinating his face with other girls' faces on Facebook and was creeped out and kind of thought that maybe he was parked across the street with his dog's pickup truck and camper to take advantage of people who got kicked out of his Tiny Homes Inner Bay. Now, when I went back this year, one of the other workers said, yeah. So I had confirmation about my hallucinations last year, which I don't hallucinate, you guys. So it tripped me out.
I've never known you to hallucinate.
No, I usually don't.
No, usually when she's in a good one, it'll be very visible.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, you'll know when she's off.
Yeah.
She's never hallucinated though.
Petrina, is there something that you'd want the people of Seattle to know?
My best friend in her younger years was a child porn star. It was not her idea, and she lives with us to this day. She was kind enough to help the cops catch him when he was going on for other kids online. Her mother didn't have the balls to go with her to court like I did and sat right next to her. When the lawyer had me and the family in the back room, he asked the family, her aunts and uncles, what do you want to do? They said get him less time. I stood up. She said, Trina, sit down. I did without saying a word. West Point wanted her for gender barrier, which she refused. But really, ladies, who better than child porn star for that? You can't break this bitch. Ever. How she lives with her mom now, I don't know. But you're either good mom who cares, or you ain't. Really, bitch? You can even go with her. Alright, next question. Now, this bitch, I say she wants to do drugs, more power to her. Can you imagine? Just imagine. Imagine her life. And living with it. She's only a year behind me, you guys. And I'm 50. Oh, thanks.
Is there any last thoughts? Wrap it up?
We have to steal for survival, you guys. The city cuts off power in the park, so we can't charge. And it's illegal to pee anywhere in public.
They cut our water off too.
Yeah, I've had so many calls to cops about water. Ain't even funny. I don't think any human being, let alone American, appreciates being refused water or restroom from anybody at any time. Much love from Street Family.
Thanks.
Yay.
Thanks so much for your time. It's
Thank
good
you,
to hear
Chris.
your voice. Thanks for sharing your story.
You're
part of
welcome.
Your story.